Hello, everybody. I'm going to do a run through of assignment and lab for lesson 11, or at least walk over what we're going to be trying to do. This is the beginning of the Python section of the course, but we're going to be using Pyscript, which is a way to make it easier to conceptualize what we're going to be doing with Python with a easy to use web-based environment. And so for that, we're going to be relying on Pyscript. I personally don't have a ton of experience with Pyscript. Today was the first time I logged into that site. So let's stumble through this together. So we'll start off with the assignment. And the idea of the assignment is to be able to paste basically these instructions into Pyscript and run your code. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then when you're done, it didn't explicitly say what you're supposed to submit here, but if you upload either a screenshot of Pyscript successfully running your program, or you upload your screenshot of the HTML file, I think that would be okay. So how you start using Pyscript is you go to Pyscript, the website, pyscript.net. Then you have two choices. You can either download and install, somehow set it up locally using these instructions. We're not going to do that. We're going to just use it using GitHub. So I've already hooked up my GitHub profile to Pyscript this morning, but basically, if you were to start a new session, you would see this screen and you would click sign up, sign in. Yep, this is what I did. So I clicked sign in and I did sign in with GitHub, and then you should already all have a GitHub account from this class. So you'll just sign in with GitHub, follow its instructions, and eventually end up in a spot like this. And so the way Pyscript seems to work is you have an index.html file, which kind of has all the information that you need to understand about your project. So this is index.html, and it's showing us a basic web page. And so this declares that this is an HTML file. Inside we have a header with the title and some meta information about our HTML page, or things that are being imported into the HTML page right here. Looks like there's a JavaScript file being imported. And then in the body is where the actual meat of the page should be, right? So inside our body, we are importing pyscript.toml and main.py. So over here, you can see those two files are here. And so let's look at pyscript.toml first. Looks like it's empty, so nothing is actually being imported into that file, or no logic is being pulled in from that file. And then we have main.py. And if we look at main.py, it just says print hello world. So the idea is when we hit run, we just see hello world printed on that page. All right, so for the purpose of our assignment, we're supposed to just copy all of this logic into Pyscript and then hopefully run the page and see what happens as a result. And then we'll take a screenshot and submit that. So this is a picture, so we can't actually copy the code from here, but let's see what we have so far. So I actually want this side by side, so I'm actually going to pull this out and place this here and place this here, and maybe this works. This absolutely does not work. Oh, here we go. Okay, so let's start typing. So we have doc type HTML, English language, Head is importing so it doesn't have a title, doesn't have a meta, doesn't have a meta. It does have a link to a style sheet, and it looks like, yeah, we'll just keep it like that. And then the only difference is this is pointing to a specific CSS file, and this is pointing to the latest. Well, actually, since we're asking you to transcribe it anyway, I will do the same. So /latest. So pyscript.net/latest/pyscript.css. Then we import a JavaScript file, and it's pyscript.net/latest/pyscript.js. Then we have a style block. And inside it, we have a label block. Inside, we're displaying it as block. So we want labels to be displayed as a block. That's a CSS change. Then we go on to our body, and we don't use these files. We're just gonna type the logic right in. We have a form tag. Inside, we have a label or operand. Your spelling is really important here. So, any issue with your spelling here, and the linkage won't work, and it's really kind of hard to diagnose what is going wrong. Input name equals operand 1, ID equals operand 1. Can't see the full thing. Value equals 10. Okay, so ID equals operand 1, value equals 10. All right, we'll close the bracket there. So that's our input. And then we'll have this a similar thing down below, another label. And this time, this label is for total result. We have a div named total with an ID of total and no value. All right, so it seems like we created an input box here and give it the name operand 1, give the ID operand 1, and value 10. One way we can check to make sure everything is spelled correctly with the right cases is when you highlight one of these two should highlight, meaning that it's all the same value there. And then we have a result div with the label. And now we'll write some logic. So py-script input box equals element operand 1. So it's selecting operand 1 by its name or ID and setting it to the input box variable operand 1, and then we're going to grab the value, which is 10, right? We're going to set the result equals element total. And so result is our total div, result dot write hello the input says plus string operand 1. Okay, yeah, so it's grabbing the value from operand 1, which is 10, right? And I believe you can change it because it's an input box. And then setting it to this variable operand 1, and then putting it in the div. So the div alone has no knowledge of what that number is because it's a different element, but we're actually using Pyscript to grab the value from the element operand 1 and put it in the total div element. And we're telling it what to say in here using some string concatenation. So that means we're adding a string, hello, this input says, to another string, which is the result. str here is actually converting our value from a float, which is a type of number, to a string. And that's it. So that theoretically should work. Let's see. So I'm going to make this big, put this over here, and then go over here. Okay, so I did hit, let's hit save. Oh, I think when I hit run, it just runs the unsaved version of our file. And so now that we've saved it, it should run. There we go. So the value was 10, and it says, the input says 10. If we add a little space here, that'll make it a little neater. Save, run. So remember to save before you hit run. Input says 10. And what if we change this to 19? Actually, we haven't added any logic here for it to do something on click or on enter. So it's only going to run the first time. So we're just going to hit run and it's going to show us the values. So this is what we kind of learned today, is we have two different elements called an input box up here and a div right here, but we were able to use Pyscript to grab the value from up here and inject it into the div. So that's the assignment there. You could turn in a screenshot of this and you would be good to go. Let's check out the lab real fast. So the lab involves opening. So in Pyscript, put the demonstrated code. Okay, so you're going to, if I make this bigger, and zoom in. Okay, so you're going to start a new instance inside Pyscript. You're going to have a HTML tag, a head, you're going to add the style sheet, the same one we just used, the same JavaScript thing, label block. Okay, so we had all this before. So you're just going to use that as a starting point. And then you're going to create a number generator. So you're going to add a pyconfig block. You're going to put the package in there. You're going to add a Pyscript block and import numpy, which is a Python number. What would I say? It gives you some mathematical functions. And use a random function to get a random integer. So it'll give you a random number between 1 and 100, kind of what we did in Flowgorithm. And then you'll add some HTML elements. So it looks like, oh, we're making the guessing game. Okay, so guess an input, a button to submit the guess, and then a result div, kind of like we just did in the assignment. Then we're going to type in this logic for the guessing function. So you're going to grab the value of the guess, which is the input box, and then you're going to compare it to our random integer from earlier, and let the user know one way or the other if they were too high or too low. And then, okay, something to consider down here. Why don't we need a loop in this logic? How are we keeping that going? And then you'll do some testing. So you'll integrate, you'll load the web page, you'll enter a number, guess, take a screenshot of the message showing up, whether it's too high or too low. So this seems pretty straightforward. If you understood the assignment, you should be having no trouble in the lab. Please start early. Let me know if there's any questions, and I'll be happy to help out. All right, that was it for today. Thank you.